Who was Jeffrey Epstein, the man behind a network of power, privilege, and secrecy? How did he rise from modest roots to rub shoulders with presidents, royalty, and billionaires? And how did he ultimately fall in a mysterious death behind bars? In this video, we'll trace Epstein's life from Brooklyn to Manhattan, reveal the people behind his empire and his cover, and walk through the allegations, arrests, and controversies, culminating in his death and the unanswered questions that remain. Let's begin. Power, money, secrets. Few names in modern history send a chill through the public like Jeffrey Epstein. He was a financier who mingled with presidents, princes, and billionaires. Yet behind the polished smile was a man hiding one of the darkest networks the world has ever seen. Tonight, we peel back the layers, his mysterious rise, the crimes, the powerful connections, and the shocking death that left more questions than answers. This is the rise and fall of Jeffrey Epstein. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953, Epstein grew up in a modest household. A bright student, he began teaching math and physics at the exclusive Dalton School in Manhattan. But Epstein's charm and connections led him to something more lucrative: finance. He joined Bear Stearns, one of Wall Street's most aggressive investment firms. Within a few years, he left to start his own company, J. Epstein & Co., a mysterious operation that managed the wealth of billionaires, yet no one really knew how. Epstein's client list was a who's who of global influence. He owned private jets, mansions in New York, Palm Beach, New Mexico, and even a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, known later as Little St. James. Among his circle were powerful figures: former President Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump, Les Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, and many others. These connections gave Epstein a shield. Money flowed, parties were lavish, and yet whispers began. Rumors of young girls, secret rooms, and private flights under the name Lolita Express. In 2005, a worried parent in Florida contacted the police. Her 14-year-old daughter had been paid to give massages at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion. The investigation that followed uncovered a disturbing pattern. Dozens of underage girls allegedly abused and trafficked for Epstein's pleasure and that of his powerful friends. In 2008, Epstein struck a shocking plea deal, a sweetheart arrangement orchestrated by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. Epstein pleaded guilty to lesser state charges, served 13 months, and spent most of that time out of jail on work release. The victims called it a betrayal. Behind closed doors, Epstein's reach went far beyond luxury and charm. Records show that his name was quietly removed from financial watch lists, and rumors suggest intelligence agencies may have had an interest in him. Epstein donated millions to universities, funded research programs, and used philanthropy to mingle with powerful academics and scientists. He wasn't just hiding his crimes. He was building legitimacy through money and manipulation. Even after his 2008 conviction, some doors remained open. The same people who once distanced themselves privately still welcomed him publicly. It seemed the more secrets he held, the safer he became. Epstein's closest associate was Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and daughter of media tycoon Robert Maxwell. She was more than a companion. She was accused of recruiting and grooming young girls for Epstein's network. The two built an empire of manipulation. Their victims were often lured with promises of modeling opportunities or scholarships, only to be trapped in a web of abuse. For years, they escaped justice, but by 2018, the world had changed. Investigative journalists and survivors began speaking out, demanding accountability. the walls were closing in. For years, survivors like Virginia Giuffre, Sarah Ransom, and many others tried to be heard. They described how Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell used promises of opportunity to trap them, then fear and shame to silence them. Their testimonies painted a chilling picture. Private jets, powerful guests, and girls too young to understand the world they were pulled into. Some were threatened, others paid off, but they never forgot. When they finally spoke in court and in documentaries, the world listened, and the truth could no longer be buried. In July 2019, federal agents stormed Epstein's Manhattan mansion. Inside, they found photos of young girls, piles of cash, diamonds, and a fake passport listing a Saudi address. Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking of minors. This time, there would be no secret deal. His trial was expected to reveal the names of the powerful people who had protected him. But before he could speak, he was dead. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. The official ruling? Suicide by hanging. But the cameras outside his cell had malfunctioned. The guards had fallen asleep, and the autopsy revealed broken bones rarely seen in suicides. Conspiracy theories ignited across the globe. Was he silenced? Who wanted him dead? And what secrets died with him? After Epstein's death, authorities discovered that several key files and videos had vanished. Hard drives were found wiped clean, security logs missing entries, and financial trails cut short. Rumors spread that backup tapes existed, possibly containing names, recordings, or evidence from his island and mansions. Yet none have ever surfaced publicly. The FBI labeled the investigation ongoing, but insiders claimed much was buried under layers of red tape and influence. Once again, the truth seemed just out of reach. Epstein's death didn't end the story. It shifted the spotlight. In 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested and later convicted of sex trafficking and conspiracy. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison, her conviction confirming what many had feared. Epstein's crimes were part of a sophisticated, decades-long operation. Many of his victims finally spoke publicly, giving a voice to the voiceless. But questions linger about the elite, the cover-ups, and the influence that allowed Epstein to operate unchecked for so long. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is not just about one man. It's about power without accountability, about the vulnerable silenced by the rich and the connected. His empire has crumbled, but his shadow still stretches over the powerful. And though Epstein's life ended in a prison cell, the truth, the full truth, may never die. This was the rise and fall of Jeffrey Epstein. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real stories that reveal the hidden side of power.